and welcome. My name is Ashley. This book review is going to be on the Mallick Brothers series by Jessica Gadziala. I want to give a couple warnings that this is going to be a darker series than I normally review. This is about a loan shark family, and there are some pretty dark things that happen. For instance, one of the main characters in the first book, Leah, had previously been raped and in an abusive relationship. Because it happened previously, you're not going to go step by step through it. And one of my favorite things of every single one of these books is that anything bad that happens, you can pretty much guess that karma's going to take care of that in the end. Usually in the form of a Mallick brother. Anyways, let's go through them in order. Shane, then Ryan, Mark, and Eli. There is an older brother, and I don't know if he has a book that's just part of a different series or if you just kind of jump into his story. Because when you read Shane's book, there's going to be this understanding of how the family is, and I don't know, maybe that was set up previously. I haven't found that. So the reason I brought up the older brother is because the oldest of all of the Mallick brothers is married to a girl, Fee, who runs a phone sex operating business, and that is how you meet Leah. Leah has ran away from everything she knew previously. Probably have a hint as to why. And now she's looking for a job from Fee, the sister-in-law. Shane's there, and that's how Leah meets Shane. He's there complaining to Fee about his mother requiring they bring dates to his family's dinner that week, and Leah takes advantage of the situation because she's low on cash and asks Shane to be his date, and then he'll pay her just simply for dinner. That's it. That sounded bad. Anyways, Leah and Shane meet up for that dinner, and that's kind of the beginning of their story. I want to mention the parents because they're absolutely incredible. The father is the loan shark, and then all of the Mallick brothers, Shane, Mark, Ryan, and Eli, are all different levels of enforcers in that business. The mother is insane and fantastic because you would think the loan shark dad would be the one that all of the boys were afraid of, but absolutely not. Their mother is just amazing character. She was probably my favorite thing in this entire series, especially when like the boys bring dates to the dinner and she tries to scare them off by making sure they all know that this is what the family does, and if you can't handle it, you don't belong here. It was just fantastically well written. I really enjoyed that. You guys know, if you watch my reviews, that I love great characters, and the way Jessica wrote them was absolutely phenomenal in this series. So anyways, Shane is an enforcer for the father's business, and he is one of them that actually hurts people. Then he meets Leah on that like fake date thing, and after a little while they actually start getting kind of serious about each other. And one day when Leah's at his house, she uses his laptop to check her email. And when she does, she accidentally leaves it there, and Shane sees it. What he finds is a video of the man from Leah's past beating someone up, stabbing her brother, actually. Why on earth would that be on her email? So then he goes and talks to her about it. She tells him everything. Her story is quite dark. If you don't want spoilers, then don't watch this part. Basically, she was born into a motorcycle gang, raised by her grandfather. Her father and her brother were also there, but her mother passed away. Leah was, I don't know, early adult. She got into a relationship with the president of the motorcycle gang. Eventually, she didn't want to be in it anymore because he got verbally abusive, a little physically abusive from what I understand. When she decided to call it off, that was when he snapped. And from that moment, he actually drug her to the room where all of her family was, killed her grandfather, shot him, I believe, and then her father and brother never interfered in their relationship again because he threatened them. And from that moment on, it became obviously very abusive. That's when everything escalated. And because she didn't want to be in that relationship, every time they were intimate from then on was essentially rape. Does that make sense? Obviously, I'm not Jessica. She does a lot better job with the story, but that's kind of the highlights. So you have some kind of idea of whether or not it's a situation you can handle. The next book is Ryan's, and he's probably the most business of all of the boys. And what I mean by that is that he wears suits and cooks the books, deals with the business stuff, but doesn't get his hands dirty, and not often does he actually hurt somebody. He's going to be in a relationship with a girl in his building. I don't know. Personally, I found her probably to be my favorite. She has agoraphobia, but was written very well, so she's not a freak. She has a mental illness, and it wasn't a choice. This happened to her. She used to be a kindergarten teacher, which I just thought was the sweetest thing, and little by little, she got anxiety about being outside by going to the store. At the beginning, she thought she was claustrophobic and just didn't like being around other people, and it got worse to the point where she couldn't leave her apartment. when Ryan and her actually meet is when the carbon dioxide detectors start going off in the hallway, and Ryan realizes she can't get out of her apartment. Like, she can't make herself get out of her apartment. She asks him to take her cat. How cute is that? And he basically manhandles her, gets her out of the building, and that's the beginning of them kind of finding their way to each other. Dusty does encounter some really interesting things through her story, because it turns out that Dusty is holding drugs at her apartment to make money so that she doesn't have to work. I mean, how do you make enough money to support yourself when you won't leave your house, because all of her groceries and everything has to be delivered? Her parents, unfortunately, don't understand that this is not something she can control. She does video therapy. She is trying to get better, and you'll see as the book goes on, she's trying to take steps. At some point, she's not going to really have a choice about what's going to happen in her life, and I think Ryan handles it very well. The next book, Mark, has hands down the best beginning of any story ever. The story begins with Mark at the grocery store, I believe picking something up for his mom, and the store starts to get robbed. He sees this girl coming down the aisle and tries to be the brave knight and save her. So he tucks her under his body and hides them until all the gunmen are gone. Anyways, turns out she's one of the flippin' robbers. Fantastic. That was a really good book. You're going to really like it. The last book, Eli, you start to get hints about going to be a really big bombshell, I think in the end of Ryan's book, and it just kind of keeps going through the rest of the books. Anyways, Eli has been arrested at the very beginning of his book, although, you know, I'm not going to say it's better than Mark's. He is at a coffee shop. All of these cops swarm him and arrest him. There's a woman sitting at the coffee shop when Eli's arrested, and she hears his name, but all she can really remember is Eli, and she becomes a foster mom to his dog, basically. While he's in prison, she takes care of him. And she wanted to write him and let him know that she's taking care of the dog, because I think that animal lovers know how upset somebody else would be to think, you know, that your dog is just tied up somewhere. One day she's at the bar and she hears somebody call out Mallick, and all of a sudden it clicks and she's like, oh, it was Eli Mallick. So she writes him in jail and just lets him know that his dog is safe. It turns out Autumn has a relationship with Eli's family indirectly, because she actually owns a sex toy store that Faye, the sex phone operator, has brought in each of her sister-in-laws in at some point. They know each other, is my point. Eli, while in prison, will occasionally write with Autumn. She'll send him pictures of the dog dressed up for Halloween, or this, that, and the other thing. And so eventually Eli does cut off all communication, because he has this theory that the reason he's in prison is because of his relationships and caring too much about something. If he didn't let stuff get to him, if he didn't care about things, he wouldn't have ended up in prison. And so he's going to try not to have important relationships. It doesn't really work, though, because when he gets out of prison, the very first thing he does is hunt down Autumn, and they start seeing each other. Autumn is an incredible woman and plays an important role in getting Eli to see that his family can be there for him, and they'll support him in his new life and not in all the crime stuff, and keeping Eli away from that stuff because he doesn't want to go back to prison. At the same time, Eli's an incredible artist in pursuing that. It was very, very well done. I thought it was the perfect ending for this series. You have a father who's a loan shark, a wife who supports him, all of these boys who are enforcers in the business and completely comfortable with it. So to have the last brother get in trouble and realize that he had to do something different and that wasn't the lifestyle for him, I don't know. I just thought that that was a really good choice. If you have any questions or comments, leave that down below. If you like this review, go ahead and like it. And if you want my reviews every week, subscribe. Thank you all for joining me. I'll see you again soon.